Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney. And today we have a really hot show lined up for you. We're going to discuss this situation that happened to this young man who was a Virginia Tech linebacker accused of beating a man to death over Tinder catfishing. Yes, this situation is crazy, y'all. All right. So we're going to briefly read this article coming out of the New York Post. Now, right here, you see this man? That's the man who catfished this man right there. All right. Now, check this out. It says a freshman Virginia Tech linebacker charged with murder told police he fatally beat a man, breaking every bone in his face for catfishing him on Tinder. That's what a prosecutor said. His name is Ismemen David Etute. He's 18 years old. He told cops he went to the Blackbird apartment of 40-year-old Jerry Smith in April for oral sex after matching up with someone named Angie on Tinder. So that was reported by the Roanoke Times. Now, since Etute then returned to the apartment on May the 31st for another meetup, at which point he discovered the person he had matched up with this time was male. And that's according to the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Jason Morgan, citing details from the now suspended linebacker told cops. All right, so he told cops, right, that what I'm getting from this is that he did not know that Angie was a man. This is what it sounds like to me. How about you, Rodney?
God, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Crazy as hell, right?
That's it. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the worst trick in the world, right there. You know what I'm saying? There's no trick behind that trick. I mean, you have to give disclosure. It's almost he violated that man's Fifth Amendment. You know what I'm saying? He got to give him disclosure that he's not a woman. You know what I'm saying? For real, and let him make the decision whether or not he want a man to suck his dick.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you can't trick nobody and nothing like that. And the dude seemed like he went crazy. You know, he smashed every bone in his face. I mean, anybody would have been mad about that joint. So I don't know anybody. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
But you know, Rodney, that's what I get from it too. That the man went crazy because right here it says the tooth, right? He told investigators, right? Sorry about that, y'all. The tooth told investigators he punched Smith 5 times in the face and stomped on him, but didn't call police despite hearing bubbling and gurgling from the victim as he left the apartment. Cops found the badly beat man's body one day later, the newspaper reported. And then it says the linebacker's parents and sister attended Wednesday's hearing, as well as a dozen of Virginia Tech football players, most of whom were wearing team gear, according to the reports. It says that the autopsy revealed Smith, a restaurant worker, died from blunt force trauma to the head. All of the bones in his face were broken and his teeth were also missing. Jesus Christ. He beat the shit out of him, man.
he beat the
But again,
off him.
I agree with you, Rodney, I agree with you based upon the fact that this was not consensual. To me, this was sexual assault. And the reason why I'm saying is because the young man, right, believed, right? He believed that this man, right, Jerry, that he was Angie. Now check out Angie, y'all. Check this out. Check this out, Rodney. Let's shout out to MTO News, right? MTO News found Jerry Smith's Twitter account. Now this is Jerry Smith. It's Angie Renee. Now right here you see what looks to be a woman. Right now you can't see the whole face, but I see enough where it looks like a woman to me. And that could have been how Jerry answered the door the first meetup. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, so the first time he met with her, she was in costume, and then the second time he went back, that's when he found out he was a man, or whether they was engaged in something, and then he found out. Like, how did he find out?
No, you're correct. What you said, when he found out that it was a man, the second time they were to meet up for him to receive another blowjob. So sexual contact already existed. That's why I'm saying to me that was sexual assault, because the young man never consented to that. He consented to him and a woman, not him and a man. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and as you can
Yeah.
see,
No, so no, so I still don't understand it. Hold up. So he said this the first time he went to the house, he had oral sex with him, and he was dressed up. I guess he must have been dressed up like a woman in order for him to come back. So the second time, was he dressed up like a man, or was he dressed up like what gave away? You know what I'm saying? Was he dressed like a man? Like did he just pop over there and say and the dude was going to work? You know what I'm saying? Or did the linebacker come there with the expectation to see Angie, and somehow, you know what I'm saying, he kind of figured out then that Angie was whatever his name was, something like that?
well, the article didn't disclose that. You know what I mean? It's still some details that's missing, but how it sounds, you know, based upon how they wrote it, is that the initial time when they first met up, he met up with Angie, the man, you know, Jerry Smith in costume. It sounds like he came over to meet with Angie again, but this time Jerry, looking like Jerry, opened the door, and he was shocked. To me, it sounded like he was insane at the moment, which any heterosexual man would be. If you find out that a woman that what you thought was a woman, right, that you had some type of sexual contact with, is actually a man.
So then the dude, he was like, just forget it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going in costume this time. Eating lunch. You know what I'm saying? If he decided that he didn't want to go on, I thought he found out through the costume, but he said he just opened up the door and said, yeah, this me.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe to happen. Now the story didn't disclose that, but that's how it sounds. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And then the young man just snapped. And see right here, look at the stuff that Angie says. Now, I got to give a shout out to MTO News, because this is the only source I seen that posted this. You know what I mean? What Angie had posted on the Twitter account. And see right here, Jerry Smith is posing as Angie Renee. So he's acting as if he's a woman. And look at the stuff he's saying to random men. I'm moving to Blacksburg next month, so come beat my, you know what I'm saying, P when I do. You know? Hey, I live in Blacksburg. Free P for you to destroy. Come beat it up. Blow your cum deep in me. You see what I'm saying? So this one guy, now this is a guy that allegedly responded to it, say, yo, why is you like this? I don't know what that means right there. But basically it sounds like he said, I don't want you. Basically, I don't want it. I'm good. You see what I'm saying, Rodney?
Yeah. So I mean, with advertisements, I mean, the way that the person is, I mean, the way that he's advertising, you know, any man would be suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too voluntary.
But see, Rodney, you speaking from the standpoint of an experienced man, because that's how I feel. But see, an 18-year-old young man might not be that experienced. So he might think,
that's the same thing that like parents try to use today. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Parents will say, well, it's only a 9-year-old, it's only a 10-year-old, it's only a 15, he's only a 15, he's only an 18-year-old, he's only a 21-year-old. But I remember when I was 18,
right?
You know what I'm saying? All this type of shit didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? As far, but I knew if someone was going beyond, you know, even if it was a real woman, if she was too aggressive, you know what I'm saying? Some instinctive ought to let you know that it's not, that, you know what I'm saying, that something possibly is not right.
I agree. I agree.
You know, just look at what the person is posting. So the football player had to have been tracking that joint and just wanted something easy and quick. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Without having been taught. You know what I'm saying? This is coming. He just probably haven't been taught some of the things to look out for. And Angie Renee, whatever the person's name is, by doing things like this, is putting their lives on the line, as you clearly see. And this time he lost.
Exactly. And look at the avatar. Like, it really does look like a woman. You know what I mean? Like Jerry Smith, it really looked like this. It does look like a middle-aged white woman. It does.
Yeah.
And I mean, the photo isn't clear, but it's clear enough where it looks like a woman. So I could kind of see how the young man could have got confused by this, you know. And I found the legal maxim, right? I found a legal maxim, Rodney, and the maxim is the insane is compared to the absent. And the reason why I'm saying, the reason why I think this fits this perfect is because I believe the man was mentally insane for the moment. I'm talking about Mr. Etute when he attacked Jerry Smith. I believe he went mentally absent at the moment, meaning he was insane. And that's what this legal maxim is saying. So I believe that Mr. Etute has an affirmative defense of mental insanity for what happened. Like I believe that he can actually beat this case. What's your thoughts on that, Rodney?
Yeah, he could use that as an excuse because I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? If you're the prosecutor, you know what I'm saying, somebody said, well, he's insane. I would say, was he insane or was he just mad? You know what I'm saying? Was he just mad and took his madness? Like it was embarrassed, right? He was embarrassed, mad, and felt like he was played. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you played and you mad, you know what I'm saying, and you know you're about to be the butt of a whole lot of jokes. You know what I'm saying? Are you angry and mad at that time, or does this equate to you walking inside your house and somebody sleeping with your wife? You know what I'm saying? That can go on. I think it's the insanity. You know what I'm saying? Trickery and being mad. See, he was tricked. Right. It's just like in the street. You know what I'm saying? If somebody go like a drug deal gone bad, right? You go to buy drugs or you go to do something in that framework and something go bad, the person try to rob you or what you thinking you're getting your money for is not what it is, and somebody get killed. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing is right here. You know what I'm saying? He was going, thinking he was going to get his free dick sucked. You know what I'm saying? And he must have liked it because he came back. So the fact that he came back, you know what I'm saying? And then you say that it was a man.
Right.
At what point are you insane, or are you just mad as a motherfucker and embarrassed?
Well,
as a prosecutor, you know what I'm saying? So how are they going to go in and define? He all of a sudden went absent, and then of course what we all don't know is his the history of him getting angry. What happens when he get angry and upset? So all that's going to come into play. But he does have a defense. He does have a defense where he can use it because anybody would use it. You know
well, this is the thing though, Ron. Because and I actually like the question that you posed, because me, let's say if I was the defense attorney, I would basically allude to the fact that yes, he was angry, he was mad, right? He was ashamed, which brought forth the rage that led him to be insane for the moment, because he was sexually assaulted by a man, of which he believed was a woman, because it pretended to be a woman. He have already had sexual contact with it.
So I don't know what's the legal definition for sexual assault.
Well, see, this is the thing.
Because it was consensual as long as he thought it was a woman. You know.
Yeah, but the fact he was
assault is like, to me, he was more tricked. You know what I'm saying? Because assault means something's being done that you don't want done. He wanted that done. He just wanted it. He just didn't want it done by that particular person. So it was deception. That's why I'm saying it seems like it's a form of sexual assault, because of the deception, the trickery that was used against him. It wasn't consensual. Yeah, I would see how the legal people would define assault in the sexual framework.
I'm curious about it. No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Because to me, an assault is like someone or something happened to you that you don't want to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it separates from you wanting to happen to like how it happened. You see what I'm saying? Some people say that they want or sex, no matter who give it to them. Some people may only want it from a man. Some people may only want it from a woman. You know what I'm saying? So what do they consider sexual assault? Is sexual?
I'm gonna start right here with sexual battery. No. You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. And I like how you're arguing that, because just me using that word sexual assault, that's what the prosecutor will point to. Now the argument that the defense is really insanity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Rodney? But they would try to pick apart what I'm saying by bringing up something else that I may have said, which would be a form of sexual assault. But you're right. I don't know what Virginia considered it to be. I know right here it says sexual battery. Yeah, it happened in Virginia.
See, if Virginia got a good constitution as well, that you know what I'm saying, that they kind of support, and I think the Democrats try to change it. They support relations with a man and a woman only. I don't know if it's Georgia or Virginia Constitution, but one of them only recognize that type of marriage, that type of engagement. I forget which constitution it was, but one of them do for sure. So, but I know Virginia is a very favorable constitution. I haven't read it since I used it last.
Right. Now, right here it says, now this is in Virginia Code, it says sexual battery. It says an accused is guilty of sexual battery if he sexually abuses, as defined in section 18.2-6710, number 1, the complaining witness against the will of the complaining witness by force, threat, intimidation, or ruse.
What does ruse mean?
Let's look it up.
I'm trying to see if that's no trickery. I was trying to, you know what I'm saying, or like misrepresentation, something like that.
Right.
Just like a sentiment or a
Yep, ruse is right there. A trick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that'll help them out.
So I should have said sexual battery, but no. I'm all of y'all. You need to. This is how Rodney and I actually test our arguments. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually glad this happened. So sexual assault is incorrect in the state of Virginia. It should have been sexual battery. That's what I should have been saying. Yeah. That was sexual battery by the means of ruse. Yeah, and that is an action intended to deceive someone or trick them.
Yeah.
So Jerry Smith, which was pretending to be Angie Renee, committed the crime of sexual battery by the means of ruse against Mr. Etute.
Yeah, so the prosecutor would try to come. Now they probably know this type of defense because the article that you sent me talked about how the person advertises being a woman and all that kind of stuff. So the prosecution, I hope he get a good attorney, right?
I agree.
Now, the fact that it was sexual battery existed. Mm-hmm. Does that excuse you for murder?
I would have to say yes under the affirmative defense of insanity. And I'm glad you said that, Rodney. I'm glad you said that, because now I think we should take a look at the case law. Now I have two for us to look at that deals with. Matter of fact, let me set the stage for this. Let me set the stage for this by going to this document that I found that was published by the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services. And this document deals with the defense of insanity. I just want to set the stage on this, Rodney. So right here, it says, now I'm gonna skip the definition because we know what insanity is, but I want to go somewhere with this. It says the test of insanity vary state by state, which we know this, right? Now we know that the framework was established by the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court, but it still varies state by state. Now right here, it says that in the state of Virginia, it says that insanity has never been defined by statute. The insanity defense in Virginia is entirely based on case law. So this is important because we're going to take a look at what the case law say. You see what I'm saying, Rodney?
Yeah.
So in Virginia, you have what is called, and I'm gonna highlight this, it's called the Imnoctin test. I believe I'm saying it right, the Imnoctin test. And right here, this case is Prince versus Commonwealth, and this is from the Virginia Supreme Court, 1984. It says, consequently, we hold that the actual Imnogden test for insanity stated in the disjunctive is the rule in Virginia. So this is the test that the courts use. That's the rule in Virginia. It says, because this principle has been established in the Commonwealth since 1871, so it's been established for over a century, we are not disposed to opt now for a conjunctive test as urged by the Attorney General, even though the Imnogden rule has been the subject of much debate and criticism over the years. So I want to skip down to right here. Right here. It says, in addition, we are not disturbed that, as the Attorney General warns, a disjunctive test may result in the finding that one mind can simultaneously be normal and abnormal. Indeed, the two elements of the Imnogden rule logically can be separated. So right here, Rodney, this is where it gets important. It says the first portion of the Imnogden relates to an accused who is psychotic to an extreme degree. It assumes an accused who, because of mental disease, did not know the nature and quality of his act. He simply did not know what he was doing. For example, in crushing the skull of a human being with an iron bar, he believed that he was smashing a glass jar. The latter portion, right, which will be the second one, y'all, of the Imnogden rule relates to an accused who knew the nature and quality of his act. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he was crushing the skull of a human being with an iron bar. However, because of mental disease, he did not know that what he was doing was wrong. He believed, for example, that he was carrying out a command from God. Now, to me, I feel that Mr. Etute could claim the first element or the first portion of the Imnogden test, which would be he was psychotic at the moment. He did not know, and I'm reading right here, he did not know the nature and quality of his act. He simply did not know what he was doing. For example, in crushing the skull of a human being with an iron bar, he believed that he was smashing a glass jar. Where I'm getting at is this. Excuse me. Mr. Etute knew, right, that he punched and kicked Jerry Smith, right, aka Angie Renee. He knew that he kicked him, but he did not know that he killed him. Like, he knew that he assaulted him, but he did not know that he actually killed him.
Yeah.
What do you think about this, Rodney?
Yeah, I was just thinking, if he used that argument with that portion of the rule, to me, I think he going to prison. Because
regardless of the sexual battery by rules.
Yeah, well, that's a separate than this right here. That's different. Because this right here is saying that he knew what he was doing. He gonna have to prove that he had a mental disease because of a mental disease. That's why that's their way out. And extreme degree, they would have to define what this extreme degree. Who you say psychotic to an extreme degree. What do they mean by that? To me, I think they're close to being retarded. So they saying that a person knew that he was smashing a skull with the iron bar, but because of his mental disease, he did not know the quality and nature of his act. So he gonna have to show that he got a mental disease, and being a linebacker for the Virginia State, that's gonna be difficult to do. He gonna have to find in this case law in here, is somewhere in here. I think you sent me another one. Hold on. Can you freeze this one?
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're fine.
My bad. I'm gonna start back from mental disease. So we're gonna have to prove that his side gonna have to prove that he had a mental disease in order for him to say that he didn't know the quality of his act. He gonna have to find, and I believe it exists. I know it exists. That at that spare moment, right? At that moment that he found out that woman was a man, his shit went out. You know what I'm saying? Because the article said that he went blank.
Exactly.
So I would use that argument, and I don't think this fit, but I know something does in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? That fit.
But see, I ain't make a job, Rodney, but in Virginia, and see, that's why I brought up this framework right here. They use the Imnogden rule to determine insanity. So that I'm like, the only way for him to use insanity would be for him to use the Imnogam rule, which has been criticized and scrutinized over the years. That's what the case law was saying.
So this
is what they use. Mm-hmm.
So they saying one or the other, that the Magna test, the impulse test is all this part of like they only deal with just the one. How many variations of the insanity test? They only deal with one out of this four. Stop right there where you are right now. Oh,
go back.
You had the other screen up.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. So you saying the many variations of the insanity test. Go up a little bit so I can see the rest of them. So you saying out of the four that's here, that they only deal with the Magna test or whatever that word is.
Yes, they deal with the Inognin test.
They don't deal with the irresistible impulse, but that's the one that he would need.
As far as my knowledge, no. But you know what? I want to double check this. I'm glad you said that.
Bring it up a little bit more. Bring it up a little bit because because all of them are saying mental disease. Like, what the fuck they mean by that? You know, because we all are mentally diseased. We are all, you know, if you really get technical about it, we all have abuse in our DNA. So we all have mentally, we all are mentally challenged. You know what I'm saying? Coming from a person that you know what I'm saying, a black person here.
Right. See what it's showing.
So what do they mean about mental disease? I don't understand what what are they trying to say? Like, I think if a person come in and catch somebody sleeping with their wife, you're gonna have to kill the guy and the woman in order to get the insanity zone. If you kill one, you're done. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kill everybody in the room in order to get that impulse. Like at the impulse, you know what I'm saying? At that very moment, you lost it all. You know what I'm saying? Forget it. Right. I'm going in. That's what he got to use.
Well, this is the thing. See, right here, they're explaining, like, you have, these are the different tests. Like, you have the federal test, the American Law Institute test, like you pointed out, the irresistible impulse test and the Imnogam test. Now, right here, it's telling you the test for insanity vary from state to state. State to state. And in Virginia, they use the Imnogam test. That's what I was showing in this case law right here. And I'm gonna scroll back up to point this out. Right here. Consequently, we hold that the actual Imnogam test for insanity stated in the disjunctive is the rule in Virginia. So that's the test that they use in Virginia. So he's going to have to meet the elements within that.
Yeah, so scroll back down where it says, let me read that again because he may be in a little trouble. Scroll down again.
Okay. Tell me when to stop.
Right there where it says the first portion. Reread that because I want to reread it again so that way they can try to understand what it's saying, because this is what he's facing.
Okay, check this out, Rock. Let me go to the other case because I was going to read this again. The other case talks about this too, but I like the way it explains it even better. So now this one is Johnson versus Insurance Company of North America Supreme Court, Virginia Supreme Court, 1986. And I'm going to start right here because, matter of fact, let me start right here. It says, there we stated that the two elements of the Imnogam rule, because remember it's two. It says the nature of the act test and then the right or wrong test logically can be separated. So right here it says the first portion of the Imnogam test relates to an accused who is psychotic to an extreme degree. It assumes an accused who, because of mental disease, did not know the nature and quality of his act. He simply did not know what he was doing. For example, in crushing the skull of a human being with an arm bar, he believed that he was smashing a glass jar. The latter portion of the Imnogam relates to the accused who knew the nature and quality of his act. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he was crushing the skull of a human being with an arm bar. However, because of mental disease, he did not know what he was doing was wrong. He believed, for example, that he was carrying out a command of God. So they give an example. So check this out. It says here, when Davis aimed the pistol at Johnson, he knew that he was shooting a human being. Acting deliberately and methodically, Davis had searched for and found a pistol, loaded it, traveled to the victim's home, waited for him, begun talking with him, and shot him from close range. He acted with resolve and determination, not knowing that what he was doing was wrong because God had ordered him to act. In pointing the gun at Johnson, Davis did not think, for example, that he was peeling a banana. He was not psychotic to an extreme degree, as the victim readily recognized when he notes that Davis did have this minimal degree of awareness of his actions. This is sufficient. The shooting was not accidental, a risk insured against, but intentional. So what's your thoughts on that, Ryan?
I did see this one.
Because where I'm getting at is like this sounds premeditated to me. You see, like he planned this. The Davis planned the pistol attack.
Yeah, this case law was affirmed. So therefore, what was he asking? Was he asking the court for them to reconsider his insanity loss? Because whatever they did, they affirmed it. So what was his questions in order to be before the Supreme Court? Like, what was he trying to get the Supreme Court to change? Was he trying to get them to overturn his insanity defense or what? Because they affirmed it at the bottom of the case.
You know what? I didn't read the whole case. So
No, what's the questions? No, like go to the beginning and see what they talking about. Because if they affirmed it, that means he's trying to challenge his
right here. In this insurance case, we decide whether an intentional injury exclusion clause in a homeowner's policy precludes coverage for an insured who, while mentally ill, shot and injured a friend.
Okay, we can stop right there because they saying that he was mentally ill. See, and to me, this is the danger of what the gentleman is in now, because now that you're looking at the legality of it,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, again, we're not legal scholars, lawyers, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? We just reading the case law and interpreting it based on our understanding and based on our experience with dealing with the local courts, the state courts, the federal courts, and the Supreme Court, because we wrote writs in all courts in the United States. So we only really talking about what we believe based on our experience. So exactly. based on this McNaughton joint that they're talking about, like they trying to hold on both rules that the person has to have some sort of mental disease on both sides of the fence. One of them, they saying that that something mentally was wrong with you because you said that God told you to do it. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, they're gonna think you crazy. You know what I'm saying? The other one is saying that you was crushing the skull, but you thought it was a glass. So therefore you extreme, almost like you're retarded or something. You crushing somebody's skull, but you're thinking it's a glass. So they go. So on either side of that fence, they're gonna be looking for some sort of mental disease that this young man has. You know what I'm saying? And they're not gonna be able to find that because the rule doesn't allow that. The rule doesn't allow, to me, the rule doesn't allow the man to come in there and catch a man and his wife, another man with his wife, and he go crazy and kill both of them. It appears to me that rule doesn't allow that.
Well, let's check this out, Rodney. Maybe we should read the definition of insanity according to the state of Virginia. It says a person accused, and I'm reading right here, person accused of a crime can acknowledge that they committed the crime, but argue that they are not responsible for it because of mental illness or a mental defect. So maybe he could say a mental defect instead of mental illness. It says
they're gonna have to define those words.
Let's see what they say more. It says this term is not used in the fields of psychology or psychiatry. It is purely a legal term. No one is diagnosed insane. A person can enter a plea of insanity when charged with a crime. The court will weigh the evidence and may find them not guilty by reason of insanity or NGRI. They are acquitted of criminal charges when found NGRI by the court, and then there's typically a court-ordered treatment component. The insanity plea was developed to protect individuals who are morally blameless. To me, he was morally blameless, but let's keep going. The insanity defense is a compromise. It reflects society's belief that the law should not punish defendants who, for reasons beyond their control, as a direct result of mental disease or defect, committed a criminal act. Throughout the country, there are many different legal definitions of insanity. These have been based upon historical court records and in some states have been put into code language. In Virginia, the legal code does not directly define insanity. You see what I'm saying? It says that the current definition of insanity in Virginia was established through case law or historical court cases. So each state definition of insanity has similar core elements. The presence of a mental disease or defect. I think in his case it would be a defect. It sounds like it'd be more of a defect. And
they're gonna have to define those joints.
I agree. I agree. The inability to control their action as a result of that defect, and the inability to tell the difference between right and wrong as a result of that act.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to have they're gonna have to have a record of him acting overly aggressive in times that he should not be, or should not be as aggressive, in order for him to say he had a mental disease or a mental defect. You know what I'm saying? So if they're saying he got a mental defect, how are you able to at 18 get a scholarship to a D1 school and have the grades to get in there? Show me your mental defect.
Yeah.
And he killed the white person.
But it was sexual battery by means of ruse. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, hey, this is a tough one, man. Like, so how is
that going to equate to
in court
insanity? You know what I'm saying? Because you were sexually battery, call the police, sue him.
Yeah.
You didn't have to punch him. Break every bone in his motherfucking face.
I already know you get that right, because I thought about that too. The prosecution.
It's a lot that you can do. Yeah. Besides crush every bone in his face, knock all his teeth out of his mouth, and just crush him.
I agree.
And then the fact that they're gonna say that you didn't have the moral decency when you heard him bubbling and going to call the police and say, I made a mistake, I must have went crazy. So he was just angry, left him and said, fuck him. Because he said he heard him bubbling and gurgling. If you hear somebody bubbling and gurgling, you're angry, you're not gonna say, but if you're in, that's a tough joint.
No. Hey, Rodney, I agree. Now, like you said, moral decency.
And then you're gonna have all those, and then you may have the what you call them, all the LGBT and all that stuff supporting them.
But you know, politics the person that got killed. That's true, but you know, politics ain't supposed to play a role in the court, man. Well, you're not supposed to take political sides, man.
If that's the case, Citizens United wouldn't be a case law.
Yeah, I mean,
in other words, I'm in trouble.
He in a tough situation because I gotta say this. I thought about that too. You know, to me, the only legitimate defense that he has to really try to battle this, and it probably won't work, is insanity. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm like this. If I was the prosecutor, I would have said what you said, exactly what you said. He still, right, could have had the moral turpitude to call the police to file a sexual battery report.
But he probably didn't know sexual battery, John. But the fact that that's an example of being beat to a pulp.
Yeah.
You know, he beat him to a pulp. You know what I'm saying? 5 punches and then the stomps. That's a lot.
And then when he said,
what I'm saying? He broke every bone in his face. They're gonna show all those pictures.
Hey, Rodney, what me tell you what might have done him in too? The fact that he didn't dial 911 to seek help for the man. Because he heard the man, he admitted this. See, this is another thing, all of y'all. If you're ever being questioned by the police, right, you always plead the fifth. Wait, you know what I'm saying? If you don't understand what to say, you got to understand how to answer questions. At least hire counsel to speak for you, but plead the fifth, because the fact that he said that he heard, like you said, Rodney, he heard him. He heard the man on the ground. What did he say? Blurping. And,
gurgling and bubbling, bubbling. You know, you drowning from your blood. That type
and he just left.
That's murder.
Yeah, man.
Because you was angry.
Yeah.
because a man tricked
He was
you.
conscious enough to had heard that. He was, you know what I'm saying, Rodney? And he didn't even call. He didn't even dial 911 to seek help for the man.
He went into too much detail.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? That's why
could be used against him.
That's going to be used against him because you have the right to remain silent to preserve your innocence. You know what I'm saying? Not to what's the other term that they try to trigger everybody with? Why the Fifth Amendment?
To incriminate yourself.
Yeah. When the Constitution said you only have a right not to be a witness against yourself, but they switched it and said, "Oh, you don't want to incriminate yourself. You don't want to," so they trick you into talking. Whenever the case law says that you preserve your innocence, that you are preserving your innocence because the manner in which the questions are asked can hang you. That's why they say you have a right to remain silent. That's your right.
Yeah.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have a right to an attorney. You know, if you don't have one, they're gonna point one to you in order to move forward. So the fact that he said, I think, a little too much, and the fact that Virginia don't have that impulsive rule, and the fact that he didn't call 911, and the fact that he gonna have to prove that he had a mental disease prior and prove why he's in Virginia Tech with a mental disease or mental defect, how he was able to pass and take the SAT and all that stuff to get into Virginia Tech, which has a higher requirement to get in, even though you're a football player. You know, he got to overcome a lot of hurdles because Virginia don't have that almost like surprise element.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the white boy probably said surprise, and then man start talking shit. You know what I'm saying? What? You Angie? Yeah, I'm Angie. Nigga, come on in and just something like that. He went crazy. You don't know what happened.
You right.
You know what I'm saying? That could have been Angie's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Or somebody else that she had replied to online. You don't know who the fuck that was.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So what was said when you say, is Angie here? He might have said, yeah, this Angie. You know what I'm saying? Then what?
Man. And then
what led to him understanding that the guy was Angie? You know what I'm saying?
That's the part we don't know. Yeah.
What led to him finally figuring out what exchanged between them two led him to, you know what? This Angie. You know what transpired between all that, if that's what happened. Because I don't know if he went to his house and he was dressed up like Angie, and then all of a sudden I don't know how he figured it out, but I'm assuming that the second time that he went to Angie's house, that Angie opened the door as Jim or whatever his name was.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, it appears that that's what happened, but we don't. We don't have bona fide evidence of proof that that's what happened.
So he can use this sexual battery if the dude was still alive.
Yeah, good point. I mean, honestly, hey, I agree with you 100%. If he was still alive, he could have used that. Matter of fact, if he would have beat him up but didn't beat him to death, he could have probably beat this just by bringing up sexual battery by means of ruse. But the fact that he beat him to death and then admitted that he heard the man on the ground dying, and didn't call 911. I think that's the final blow. I think he's gonna lose this too.
I think
I hate to say it, but
because they don't have that rule to protect him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They just don't have that joint, and that's bad. Unless you don't know his back. Maybe that's why he played linebacker, because he crazy. And they say you got to be crazy to play linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a lot of head collisions. And you in college, you don't know.
Maybe he has that
in other words,
syndrome.
Their lawyers got their work cut out for them.
They do. Yes, they do. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
He wanted to put up some money. Hey, Roddy, he wanted to put up some bread.
All them football hits, all them up until college, that junk could have affected them because people are committing suicide because of being crazy. It might have happened to him early, so he got his work cut out for him. You know, this joint to be good is see how far the legal team will go to try to prove of some sort of mental illness. The fact that he got football-related injuries that was undiagnosed. It's a lot of shit that he could probably go and to attack and probably be able to grab some sort of mental disorder.
Yeah, I agree.
Behind football, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times that shit go undiagnosed and it all came out right there.
Yeah, you're You right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck that joke. It's not premeditated, but it's gonna be. I don't know if it's second degree or manslaughter, but it's gonna be up there.
Oh, they charged him with second degree murder.
Second degree on that joint. So
yeah, I think the article says that second degree.
And I don't know if he can recant that joint. He shouldn't have opened his mouth. No, you don't say nothing.
Yeah. Hey, Rodney, that's the first thing I thought when I heard what he said. I'm like, shit. He may have gave them enough to hang him just off of what he said. Yeah, he's charged with second degree murder.
Second degree murder. Yeah.
His attorney, Jimmy Turk. So Jimmy Turk got some work cut out for himself.
His attorney work cut out for him.
Yeah. His attorney told the judge the case was more than someone just showing up to an apartment and punching someone. Hell yeah, it was. It was sexual battery by means of ruse going on. But he still got his work cut out.
He gonna have to overcome that joint. You know what I'm saying? If the shoe was on the other foot, if the white boy killed a black person acting funny like that, he may have a better chance. You know what I'm saying? You have to, in my opinion, you have to realize the system. You know, I'm going back to the system. You know what I'm saying? He in Virginia. Virginia, you follow the Constitution. I like Virginia. You know what I'm saying? I done got off of two jumps where I know I did it. I used the Constitution. They followed it. But it wasn't nothing to that. It was running a stop sign, some other shit. I'm like, I ain't caused no injury. You know, so that was my defense. I ain't caused no injury. I ain't damaged no property. He did both. So he got a problem down there in VA because he damaged property and injury. So,
see, my thing is like his attorney said this too. His attorney said nobody deserves to die, but I don't mind saying don't pretend you are something that you are not. And that's what he told the reporters. He said, don't target or lure anyone under the perception that's just wrong. I agree with him. Right.
So what his attorney gonna have to do, in my opinion, is to try to win public opinion for the jurors.
Yeah, for the jurors.
This like a public opinion joint where you can sow the seed, right, before you get to trial. And then people will look past, because you're dealing with a jury. You ain't dealing with codes and rules and regulations. You only charged under that rule and regulation. You're going to trial, so you get to lay out a story. You feel what I'm saying? You can lay the insanity, the defense is part of it, but you can lay out a story as well to work on the compassion of the jurors, in addition to, you know what I'm saying, be compassionate for the LGBTQ community, because that community deserves respect too. But trickery, you know what I'm saying, I think he has a amendment protection to have full disclosure of what's going on. So this guy should have said, look, I'm a guy, you know what I'm saying, what you gonna do? And let him make the decision whether he want to move forward. The fact that he didn't give him that option, you know, that's what's not fair, whether you gay or not. You know, or whatever, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, Roddy, that's the whole point of why these women wanted Bill Cosby prosecuted. People like him, because they said they didn't have a choice. He drugged them, so he removed he removed their consent from that. Of which I agree. You know what I'm saying? This is the same type of, it's different variables, but the same situation in principle. You know what I'm saying?
So I wonder, even though this guy Jerry violated his Fifth Amendment protection, he did everything, but at what point is he the judge, jury, and executioner? That's what the prosecutor gonna say. Yeah. Everything that Jerry did was wrong, and everything that the attorney gonna say is right, and all that kind of stuff. But at what point does this young man become judge, jury, and executioner by killing him for what he say, don't take the law in your own. It's so many maxims against the young man. You know, you can't take the law into your own hands. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole lot against him, but it's a lot of emotions on his side. You know what I'm saying? Can't trick nobody. You know, give him an option and all that. I get that. It's gonna be funny to watch. That he does have his work cut out for him.
Yeah,
and it's going to depend on who persuades the 12 people the most.
I agree. And matter of fact, we go keep track of this too, man, because I'm
Yeah,
curious how this case gonna play out, and I also we're curious of what you all think. Please leave us comments in the comment section of how y'all feel this case may play out. You know, based upon all of the information that we provided in this broadcast. Because I think this was a hot broadcast right here, right? I think
yeah,
it's
I
hot.
agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yes, indeed.
So, yeah, please share, like, and subscribe, y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All right, have a good one. Peace. Peace to the gods.